I just got here, man. I'm putting the hook on right now.
You got a YouTube channel?
I do.
What's your channel?
It's PAWS, like a dog's paws. ANDPLAYNOLA. Pause and play Nola. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll check you out.
All right, for sure, bro. Thanks.
Right. Good luck.
Thank you. So this is part of How to Be a Country Boy 101. So this is a high and low rig, and basically you tie your weight on the bottom. If you fish in the river, real river fishers know you use spark plugs. So you get spark plugs from different places. You put that spark plug on because you don't want to waste lead. Even though I don't even like fishing with lead, I'm all about the earth. But anyway, I don't have any spark plugs. So put your weight on the bottom, and then you tie a knot, and then you loop your hook through that open-ended knot. So anyway, I'll show you how to do it on my next line. I just needed to get one in the water. Now let me pull out some of my goodies. And you might be saying, what a fancy tackle box at? And I'm gonna tell you right now, you're on the river. Ain't nothing fancy about the river. And that's what makes fishing on the river great. Pull that out, because I'm gonna try to catch a few shrimp later. You keep some little gloves, and I'll show you that later when we catch a fish. And I'm gonna get my fancy fillet knife, which is actually just a glorified boning knife. And you see our little victim right here? I will get a piece of wood. Yeah, let's get a little piece of wood. How you like that? It's like being at Neiman Marcus. So I'm gonna try to use this little section because the eyes are fresh from this little perch, and I want some of them guts as well. And if I had my hip boots, I would walk further down here in the water. But because I know this water right here, I could walk all the way out to those willows and a little bit past the willows without incident. So, but I'm not gonna do that today because I got on my good shoes. Put him down there. And basically for this little, I'm using a circle hook. Tell you what, let me just do it this way now. And that's all I want right there, you know? Now I'm gonna clean my hands on this free grass, this natural loofah, and that's good enough. But I'm gonna take my little fish rag and I'm gonna wet it, and that way I can stay sanitized and disinfected. Now this is a little hole right here. And typically I'll try to throw past that hole, but I'm not gonna do that today because I know they got rocks right past the willows right there. So I'm not gonna be able to go that far with this little bitty weight. I'm right on the top of rocks right there. So I can't play with this too much because I'm gonna get tangled. So when you fish the river, you set it and forget it, just like Ronco. So now I'm gonna just sit this out here on the bucket like this, just to keep it out of the way. And that's it. Now let me show you this before I run out of space on my memory card that I'm recording with now. So this is a bait caster reel, and it has a leveling guide right there. So let me put it through the eyes of the rod. Hey, check out this tub. Put it through the eyes of the rod. This rod is probably I know it's over 20 years old, easily. It's all fiberglass. I got this from a good friend of mine, and he's deceased now. And my homeboy, Snowman, he did a polyurethane job on it, and he put this string and urethaned it and all that good stuff and clear coated it. So let's get a little slack on this line. Sit it right there. Now the first thing I want to do, I'm gonna go to my trusty little pack right there, and I'm gonna go a little heavier on this line. Normally all you need is a 1 ounce weight for what I'm trying to do. You could fish with more weight if you want to, and I'm gonna show you a very easy knot to use. And I'm gonna put them through like that. I've been using this knot right here for over 30 years. So you just twirl it. You twirl it 15 times or so. 12 times, 7 times, 9 times, 15 times. And then you just twirl it. And then you open up the end and you pull the line through, and then you just pull it tight. And that knot ain't gonna break. That knot will not break. All right. Now you fish at how deep you want it. So being that the river has a lot of rocks in it, and I'm not just throwing in the grass, I could throw this line right out here in the grass. But now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna see how deep I want to go, and now I'm gonna just grab the line like that and tie a knot. And once I tie that knot, then I'm gonna take the bite and I'm gonna tie another knot in the top. Then I'm gonna take the bottom of the line and tie another knot on bottom. That way the knot doesn't shift around. Just like that. Pull that taut. Now that knot is locked in the line right there. And now what I want to do, I'll take this looped in like this, and I'm gonna get a circle hook. I'm gonna get a circle hook out of my trusty bottle of hooks. And I got a lighter in there, a nail clipper, and some other little stuff. You don't need pretty stuff when you fish in the river, okay? I don't care what Roland Martin tell you, or Bill Dance, and all them other boys from yesteryear. You don't need pretty tackle. All you need is hooks and weight. That's it. And I'm not sponsored by any of these companies. I like a circle hook in the river, especially because sometimes when you're fishing with multiple poles, like you should be when you're fishing in the river, you don't have time to set the hook. But with that circle hook, it will set itself, which increases your fish catching potential. Now, if you saw that video the other day that I made with the eel, I was in the same spot right here. The only thing was they had more grass down there. But because of the water melting from up north, this is what we got. Now, I'm not fishing with this pole here because I don't want to be too crammed up and get tangled. So I'm gonna just do this way. I'm gonna do this way like that. And I'm gonna just sit this pole right here. And now, because of life, I'm gonna close this up. I'm gonna put that back in my tackle box bucket, because I'm planning already on going to a different spot. So that's why I'm not really getting too worried about all of this stuff. So remember, I'm gonna show you how to be a country boy 101. But I'm not really tripping about all this stuff, right? So I think I'm satisfied with that. And I'm gonna just sit this right here like that. And tell you what, get this off. Like, let me just talk about this bait caster just for a minute. Oh man. All right, so this is a bait caster reel. Oh, might be getting a little bump. That could be the current, but I don't think it is, because I had all kind of slack in my line. Now the wind is blowing. The wind is blowing strong. It's blowing out of the east. But this is what you're looking for when you think you got a bite. You're looking for the pole to move like that. Sometimes that pole will just suck down and all that. But if your line doesn't have slack in it, it could be a bite. Fish do bite weird, but we ain't gonna worry about that right now. All right, so this is a bait caster reel. If you ever saw the movie Jaws, this is a great reel for heavy duty fishing. Now you're not gonna cast and reel this thing in every day like the smaller, fancier bait cast reels. We getting a bite, man. We are getting a bite. But I'm gonna let him take it because I got a big old piece of perch on there, right? And I got that bait. I got that circle hook, so I know that thing is gonna catch him if he gets all of that bait in his mouth. Look at this thing biting, man. You see that thing moving? But I don't think he got it though. I don't think he got it. So I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna just reel the slack out and wait. This is a spinning reel right here. Now what I'm doing, because he engaged that bait, I'm just putting it in my hand just like this. And I'm gonna just leave the slack out the line and just hold it taut. And I'm gonna let him pull. And when he starts pulling, I'm gonna pull. But that was a nice hit. That was a really nice hit. Now I'm starting to regret not hooking it through the skull of that fish head. I should have hooked it through the skull because I would have had a little bit more purchase point. He's pulling it right now, but I'm gonna let him set the hook on himself. And I'm gonna show you how to be a country boy 101. So with the hook being in the fleshy part of the fish head, if he doesn't bite the actual hook, he can just pull it and pull it and pull it. And then when you pull back, you'll just rip the hook from out of the bait. But he's pulling on it, he's hitting nice. Now also keep in mind, this could be a small fish. So you really wanna let him eat that big old piece of bait that you were fishing with. You really want him to eat it. It also can be an eel. As you saw in one of the videos I had, I caught an eel in this very spot. And unless it's a big old 5-pound eel, it could have a very small mouth for that big old piece of bait that I had on it. Or it could be a crab. So just keep that in mind. Don't panic. Just because something hits your line, it does not mean you need to set the hook. Now, if you're speckled trout fishing, hey, when it hits it, you gently just pull back, put pressure on it. You don't need to set the hook because you'll rip the mouth of the trout. It has a very paper mouth, as we call it. And all you need to do is just put pressure on the tip and on your line, and that trout will be safe. And all of that cranking up and down, you don't need to do all that stuff. You're not offshore fishing where you're in 100 feet of water and the fish is underneath the boat. Another thing, you don't need 300-pound test when you fish either. Now, I don't want to pull this line and take it from the fish either because they got rocks down there. So I would much rather the fish take and swim off with that bait, because that way that little pyramid sinker that I'm having is not in the rocks. So it's a lot that's going on. But anyway, we're gonna make it happen. So this is a spinning reel. This reel is a spinning reel. The brand is Daiwa. I've been having this reel for about 15 years, almost 20 years. And it has a spool right here that's kind of tall. So this reel is made for casting. But it's a good reel. I got a great deal on them when I bought 4 or 5 of them almost 20 years ago. Anyway, it's a spinning reel. And how you cast a spinning reel, this is how I was taught. You grab the spinning reel and you put 2 fingers over this area of the reel where it fastens to your rod. You use your 1 trigger finger to pull the line and you flip the bail like that. You flip the bail. And when you go to cast, put it behind your head, throw it forward and let that finger go. And that's how you cast. How you reel in? You reel in just like this, overhand. The reason the reel is on the left side is because I'm right-handed. So when you catch big fish, you want to use your dominant hand to hold the rod, because you need a strong hand to hold the rod, not necessarily to crank. Now, when you're offshore fishing, that's a different story. Cranking is just as important as holding the rod. So most offshore reels that are bait casters, they'll have the lever, the handle on the right-hand side. They don't have it on the left-hand side. But anyway, that's a different conversation for a different group of fishing. So there you go. All right. So I'm not gonna rush this fish from doing what it needs to do, because I don't want to lose it if it's there. I would much rather it hook himself, but I'm gonna reel just a little bit of the slack out. I might be stuck in the rocks. Let's see. Yep, I might be stuck in the rocks. So right now where the line is nothing but grass right there. He took that head, man. I told you that. I could have hooked it better, but he took the head off there. And as you see, I did not pull the hook to set the hook. So this fish took that head off. That's no problem. I should have hooked it better. Like I told you, I should have hooked it through the cranium and not just through the fleshy part. So that hit, by me hooking that fish through the head, the soft part of the tissue of the head, I lost that fish on my own. That was my fault. So let's cut another piece of this bait and I'll try to hook it better. Now you might notice I'm cutting this on the wood. You don't want to cut this wherever you're going to be fishing, because snakes will come around the fish that you, or the bait that you use. So I'm gonna just roll this piece of wood in the water, so it shouldn't be a big problem for snakes. But when you fish, you want to keep your area clean, because that way you have less of those little critters coming around causing trouble, and also trying to get your fish. So we're gonna hook him up like that. And I feel like a doyen for not hooking that fish head better. The reason I used the head was because I knew that I would get a hit better with that head. Now I threw right on the rocks in the same spot I threw the last time. So let's see if we could get one of these fish. We know they're there because I had a massive hit on that massive head that I had. So let's just see. Now what I'm gonna do, tell you a little bit about this reel. This is a bait caster. If you watch the movie Jaws, this is what they had. This is a Penn brand bait caster. I got a great deal on 5 of these 4 years ago. But anyway, so this little lever right here, this is your bait alert. So if you fish at night or you fish with multiple poles, you can set your drag really loose, and every time a fish hits at it and pulls it, it'll let you know. So that's the nice thing about this reel. You don't need a bell. Like some people use fish bells. Now, this is a level just so you could keep your line pretty level on it. Some of these bait casters do not have this feature. I personally like this feature, but I know how to fish without this feature. You just have to use your thumb as you're reeling in so that you can level the string as you're reeling it in. Now, on this side of the reel, this is your spool, free spool. So this is how you cause a spool to release free when you go to cast it. You flip this lever right here. Now this spur looking lever, this is your drag. So I'm gonna tighten the drag up by spinning it clockwise, and now I can't just pull it off the line. But if I loosen the drag by spinning it counterclockwise, now I could just pull it freely. But remember what I said. So when you're fishing at night, or you're fishing with a lot of poles, and you just want an advantage to be able to hear a fish, you can flip your bait alert, right? And then you loosen your drag up a good bit, but make sure you're using a circle hook. That way your fish will hook itself. And now I could be fishing with multiple poles, and I'll hear that fish pulling the line like that. And I'll know that I need to go over there and handle business. So it's just something to keep in mind. But make sure you turn your bait alert off when you go to spool, or it just becomes a nuisance. You know? Now there's a brand of fishing rod. This is the fishing rod, and these are the eyes of the fishing rod. But there's a brand of fishing rod called Ugly Stick, and I really love Ugly Stick because Ugly Stick, I'm getting a bite right now, man. Ugly Stick is known for being able to fish and bend end to end. So the tip of the pole can bend all the way down and it won't break. I'm getting a hit right now, man. I wonder if this is a small fish or if he's actually gonna take that bait and get the hook. So depending on how fish bite, some fish suck, some fish just gobble, and some fish just hit to kill. And depending on the time of the year, you could have all of that going on. And depending on where you're fishing. I'm fishing in the river, so I'm gonna assume I'm gonna catch a catfish. But it could be a striped bass, it could be a stingray, it could be an eel, it could be a shark, it could be a flounder or a redfish. All of that stuff is in the river. It could be a gaspargou. So all of those different varieties of fish are in the river. But I wish this fish just take it. So I've only cast twice and I've had 2 massive hits. But when you fish the river, the worst thing to do is prematurely try to set the hook. You'll lose every time. You gotta have patience. I hope that's not red ants crawling in my pants, man. That's gonna be a bad day. I think I done got allergic to red ants in my old age, man. I had a few bite me on my ankles and my skin whelped up so bad and turned black. Wait, I am black. Nah, but my skin got marked up from it.